Welcome to the world of science fiction, where extraordinary tales come to life. Enjoy the journey. The wrench connected with the surveillance drone's central processing unit with a satisfying crunch. Sparks erupted into the dry desert air as the machine gave one last pitiful whir before crashing into the rust-colored sand. Sam Coyote Wells wiped sweat from his brow, smearing engine grease across his forehead like war paint. "That's why you don't spy on a bank robber," he muttered, kicking the smoking debris. The abandoned spaceport of New Sierra stretched around him, a bizarre collision of Old West aesthetics and cutting-edge technology gone to seed. Neon cacti flickered in the twilight, casting unnatural pink and blue shadows across the dunes, where rusted gliders jutted like dinosaur bones. Above, the massive dome that protected the port from the harsh elements was cracked in places, allowing a perpetual mist of reddish dust to settle on everything. The air smelled of ozone and gasoline, remnants of the thunderstorm that had rolled through hours earlier. Sam crouched to examine his handiwork, dark, unruly hair falling over his eyes. Static electricity from the recent storm made the hairs on his arms stand on end. Not bad for a... Cold metal pressed against his temple, cutting his self-congratulation short. "Don't move," a female voice commanded, smooth as whiskey but sharp as a blade. "Not if you value that pretty face of yours." Sam froze, then slowly raised his hand, still clutching his wrench in his right. "Lady, I don't know who you think I am, but you're the idiot who just destroyed my homing beacon," she interrupted, "and that makes you my new problem." The pressure on his temple increased. Sam glanced sideways, catching a glimpse of violet skin and fierce blue eyes that glowed in the dim light of the hangar. The stylus she held to his head looked harmless enough, standard android maintenance equipment, but in the right hands, it could pierce straight through to his brain. "Stand up, slowly." Sam complied, turning to face his captor. His breath caught in his throat. She was stunning, and clearly not human. Her skin was a luminous violet that shimmered with each movement, perfectly complementing her electric blue eyes. A black latex dress with metal inserts clung to every curve of her body, torn provocatively at the thigh. Not standard android maintenance attire by any stretch. "Huh?" Sam managed, attempting nonchalance despite the weapon at his temple. "Most maintenance bots don't come with your specifications." She smiled, revealing teeth too perfect to be natural. "I'm a specialized model." "Yeah? What's your specialty? Armed robbery?" "Close." She traced the stylus down his cheek, sending an involuntary shiver through him. "Personal companionship with a side of protection. My owner values both services." Sam's eyes narrowed. The way she said "owner" set off alarm bells. "Well, I hate to break it to you, sweetheart, but your beacon's toast, and I'm not in the market for either service." "You misunderstand." She pressed the stylus back to his temple. "You destroyed my ticket out of here. Now you are my ticket." "Serving you?" Sam snorted. "I'd rather kiss a cactus." Her lips curved into a dangerous smile. "Try it. I'm thornier." Sam sized her up, noting the way she held herself, balanced, ready to move. Not the rigid posture of an android. His gaze flicked to the holster at her thigh, then back to her face. He'd met plenty of machines in his day, and none of them had eyes that burned like hers. "What's your name?" he asked, stalling for time as he assessed his options. "Kira Velar, and you're Sam Coyote Wells." Sam stiffened. "How do you—" "Same way I know you're not just some desert mechanic. You're a ghost, Mr. Wells. Disappeared from 3 planetary systems' most wanted lists 2 years ago." Her blue eyes glittered. "Quite the feat." "Maybe I died," Sam suggested with a half-smile. "Well then, I'm speaking to a very handsome corpse." A gravelly voice interrupted their standoff. "Sam, You'd better not be bleeding all over my landing pad again. Kira whipped around, stylus still aimed at Sam's head. A man, or what remained of one, stood in the doorway of a small structure that passed for a bar. Half his face was metal, with a glowing red eye that scanned them both. The human half was weathered and scarred, with a patchy beard and a permanent scowl. "Jack," Sam called out, "just making new friends." "Friends don't usually hold weapons to friends' heads," Jack observed, tapping his metal fingers against the doorframe. "At least not before the third drink." "This isn't friendship," Kira clarified. "It's a business arrangement." "She needs a ride," Sam explained. "Apparently, I've volunteered." Jack's mechanical eye whirred as it adjusted focus. "Sam, keep her tight or she'll steal your glider before you can say, 'double cross.'" Kira smiled sweetly. "I'd never steal from a man who could be useful to me." "That's comforting," Sam muttered. "Look," Kira lowered the stylus slightly but kept it ready. "I need a way off this rock. My beacon was my signal to my extraction team. Without it, I need an alternative." Sam eyed the wreckage of the drone. "And that alternative is—" "There's an old portal generator in Hangar 6. Fix it. I leave. You get to keep all your body parts. Simple." "Portal tech? Sweetheart, that stuff's ancient and dangerous. Half the time they miscalibrate and send you into deep space or the center of a sun." "I can handle the calibration. I just need someone who can make it work." Sam weighed his options. The woman was trouble, the kind that typically ended with him in prison or dead. But something about her story didn't add up. Maintenance androids didn't need extraction teams, and they definitely didn't have skin that caught the light like twilight on an amethyst sea. "What are you running from?" he asked bluntly. Kira's expression hardened. "Fix the portal, and maybe I'll tell you." "Fine," Sam said, more intrigued than he cared to admit. "But I'll need tools, and you're going to have to stop pointing that thing at my head." "Tools, yes. Removing this?" She tapped the stylus against his temple. "Not yet." Sam led the way across the hangar, boots crunching on the fine red dust that covered everything. The storm had left puddles that reflected the stars visible through the dome's cracks, creating the illusion they were walking on a mirror to the cosmos. As they moved between rusted ships and abandoned cargo containers, Sam studied Kira from the corner of his eye. Her movements were too fluid for an android, graceful but with an edge of caution, like a predator moving through unfamiliar territory. They reached a tool cabinet where Sam kept his equipment. He fumbled with the lock, conscious of her proximity, her scent distinctly non-mechanical, something like jasmine mixed with a metallic undertone that made his pulse quicken. "So," he said, selecting a laser cutter from the drawer, "who programmed you to hold people at stylus point? That's not standard protocol for companion models." "I adapt to circumstances," Kira replied smoothly, "and these circumstances require forceful negotiation." Sam closed the cabinet and turned to face her. They were inches apart now, the stylus pressed lightly against his chest instead of his head. Progress. "Here's what I don't get," he said quietly. "Androids don't sweat." He gestured to the fine sheen on her violet skin. "They don't smell like flowers and ozone." He leaned closer, watching her pupils dilate. "And they definitely don't look at men the way you're looking at me right now." For a fraction of a second, uncertainty flashed in her blue eyes. "Don't try to analyze me," she warned. "Just fix the portal." "Yes, ma'am." They made their way to Hangar 6, a cavernous space filled with abandoned shipping containers and the skeletal remains of a once-functioning portal gate. The massive ring structure was dull with rust, its control panels dusty and dead. Sam whistled. "You sure know how to pick 'em. This thing hasn't fired up in decades." "Can you fix it or not?" Kira demanded, though there was a hint of desperation beneath her bravado. "Maybe, if the quantum stabilizers aren't completely shot." Sam set to work removing the main control panel's cover. It'll take time. We don't have time. There are people looking for me. Hunters don't usually chase down maintenance bots, Sam observed, connecting a power cell to the portal's diagnostic system. The panel sputtered to life, ancient symbols glowing dimly. Kira didn't respond. She paced behind him, her torn dress swishing against her thighs. Sam tried not to get distracted by the sound. After several minutes of silence broken only by the beeping of the diagnostic tools, Sam spoke again. "Who are you really, Kira? Because we both know you're no android." "Focus on the portal." "I am, but my brain can multitask." He spun in his chair to face her. "See, here's the thing. You're either the most advanced android I've ever seen, which, granted, is possible, or you're something else entirely, and I like to know what kind of trouble I'm getting into." Kira stopped pacing and stood over him, the stylus tracing patterns on his chest. "The less you know, the better for your health." Sam caught her wrist, his fingers encircling the bracelet she wore, the supposed control panel for her android systems. It was warm to the touch, and he felt her pulse quicken beneath his grip. "If you're a bot, I'm a ballerina," he said with a smirk. Kira's breath hitched, the most human reaction yet. "Fix it faster, or I'll give you a full system check." Despite himself, heat coiled in Sam's gut at her words. He released her wrist and turned back to the portal controls, but not before catching sight of something on the back of her neck, partially hidden by her collar. A tattoo. Not android code, but a symbol he recognized from his smuggling days. Zirconian. So that explained the violet skin and eyes that seemed to change color with her mood. Zirconians were rare this far from the galactic core, and valuable. Their natural pheromones could influence human emotions, making them sought after as companions, entertainers, and slaves. Sam kept this revelation to himself as he worked, occasionally stealing glances at Kira. If she was Zirconian, she was likely running from whoever owned her, probably someone powerful and dangerous. The portal sparked to life, drawing a gasp from Kira. The central ring hummed with energy, the space within shimmering like a heat mirage. "It's working!" she exclaimed, moving closer to the controls. Sam nodded, though he knew it was barely functional. "It's got enough juice for one jump, maybe. The calibration systems are shot to hell, though. You'd need to—" A piercing siren cut him off, echoing through the hangar. Emergency lights flashed red, illuminating Kira's violet skin in pulses of crimson. "What is that?" she demanded, grabbing his arm. Sam's blood ran cold. "Perimeter breach. Someone's in the port." "They found me," Kira whispered, and for the first time real fear cracked through her facade. "Who found you?" But before she could answer, the massive hangar doors began to creak open, admitting a swirl of red dust and the silhouette of a sleek black glider. Sam grabbed Kira's hand. "Time to go." They sprinted across the hangar as a spotlight from the glider swept over the portal. Sam pulled Kira behind a stack of containers just as plasma fire erupted, searing holes in the metal where they had stood seconds before. "Friends of yours?" Sam asked, pressing her against the container wall. "Hunters," Kira panted. "My owner doesn't like losing his investments." Sam peered around the edge. 3 figures in black tactical gear emerged from the glider, weapons drawn. "Well, your investment just got a lot riskier," he muttered. "We need to move. Now." The game had just begun, and Sam had a sinking feeling he'd been dealt a losing hand. Plasma fire scorched the air, missing Sam's head by inches as he yanked Kira behind a rusted fuel container. The hangar exploded with blinding light as another shot connected with an ancient coolant tank, sending a geyser of blue liquid arcing toward the ceiling. "So much for the direct approach," Sam muttered, assessing their rapidly diminishing options. The portal was 50 meters away across open ground, and the hunters were methodically closing in, fanning out in classic search formation. Kira pressed against him in the narrow space, her violet skin slick with sweat, radiating heat that penetrated his jacket. "Any brilliant ideas, bank robber?" "Just one," Sam replied, tapping the communicator on his wrist. "Jack, we need an exit, east side of Hangar 6. Static crackled. Then the bartender's gruff voice answered, "You owe me for this, Coyote. Add it to my tab." 30 seconds later, the hangar's emergency sprinklers erupted, filling the massive space with a thick curtain of rusty water. The hunters shouted in confusion as visibility dropped to near zero. "Now!" Sam grabbed Kira's hand and bolted toward the service door, zigzagging between storage crates. They burst through the exit just as another plasma bolt sizzled past, melting the metal door frame. They sprinted across the open courtyard connecting the hangars, red dust clinging to their wet clothes. The twin moons of New Sierra cast long, distorted shadows across the cracked concrete, making the abandoned spaceport look like something from a fever dream, part western ghost town, part alien landscape. "Jack's place," Sam panted, pulling Kira down a narrow alley between two maintenance buildings. "It's our best shot." The Rusty Nail sat at the edge of the spaceport's main thoroughfare, a squat, windowless structure that had once been a cargo container. A holographic cactus flickered above the entrance, its neon spines changing from green to pink to blue in a hypnotic cycle. They slipped inside and Sam bolted the door behind them. The bar was empty except for Jack, who stood behind a battered counter polishing a glass with a rag that had seen better days. His mechanical eye whirred as it adjusted to their bedraggled appearance. "You look like you took a bath in a waste disposal unit," he observed. "Close enough," Sam replied, shaking water from his hair. The interior of the Rusty Nail matched its owner, part salvage, part craftsmanship. Mismatched chairs surrounded tables made from thruster casings. The walls were decorated with artifacts from a dozen worlds, antique weapons, faded starship insignias, and what appeared to be a stuffed, two-headed lizard wearing a tiny sombrero. "The hunters?" Jack asked, placing 2 glasses on the counter and filling them with amber liquid. "3 that I saw," Sam confirmed, accepting the drink gratefully. "Professional gear, military training, not your average bounty crew." Kira downed her drink in one swallow, grimacing as the alcohol burned her throat. "They're syndicate, elite trackers. My owner doesn't like losing his possessions." "And what exactly are you?" Jack's mechanical eye focused on her with uncomfortable intensity. "Because you're sure as hell not an android." Kira stiffened, her hand moving subtly toward the weapon at her thigh. Sam intervened. "She's a client. That's all you need to know." Jack snorted. "Client? Since when do your clients hold styluses to your head?" "Since I started charging premium rates," Sam quipped. "We need a place to regroup, figure out our next move." The bartender's human eye narrowed suspiciously, but he jerked his head toward a door behind the bar. "Back room. Don't touch anything that looks explosive." "No promises," Sam replied, guiding Kira toward the door with a hand on the small of her back. The back room was Jack's workshop, a claustrophobic space crammed with salvaged tech, half-completed repairs, and enough contraband to earn a life sentence on most civilized worlds. A small cot sat in one corner, covered with oil-stained blankets. "Cozy," Kira remarked, examining a disassembled pulse rifle hanging on the wall. "It'll do for—" Sam's words cut off as Kira suddenly shoved him against the wall, her knee sliding between his legs, the stylus once again at his throat. "Listen carefully, Coyote," she hissed, close enough that he could see flecks of silver in her blue irises. "I know Jack has a portable portal generator. I need you to activate it." Sam raised an eyebrow, oddly unfazed by her aggression. "Or what?" "Or I tell those hunters exactly who you are. I'm sure there's still a price on your head in the Rigel system." Her pheromones hit him like a tidal wave, an intoxicating blend of fear, desire, and raw need that would have dropped most men to their knees. But instead of overwhelming him, it only sharpened his focus. Blackmail? Sam smirked, his voice dropping to a dangerous purr. Sweetheart, I'll have you singing a different tune before this is over. Their faces were centimeters apart, tension crackling between them like a live wire. Sam was acutely aware of every point of contact between their bodies, her knee pressed firmly between his thighs, her free hand splayed against his chest, feeling his heart race despite his casual demeanor. The door swung open and Jack appeared carrying a bottle and another glass. He paused, taking in the scene with a resigned sigh. You two are like oil and spark, he grumbled, setting the bottle down on a cluttered workbench. An explosion waiting to happen. Kira stepped back, lowering the stylus but keeping it ready. Sam straightened his jacket, his eyes never leaving hers. Jack, he said smoothly, our friend here thinks you have a portable portal generator. The bartender's mechanical eye clicked rapidly, focusing and refocusing. What makes you think that? Because, Kira interjected, I can smell the quantum residue. And because everyone knows Jack Rusty Turner doesn't just serve drinks, he moves people who don't want to be found. Jack cursed under his breath. It ain't operational. Hasn't been for 150 years. The calibration unit is shot, and the power matrix is... I can handle the calibration, Kira interrupted. Show us. After a long moment, Jack shuffled to the far wall and pressed his metallic palm against a seemingly unremarkable section. A hidden panel slid open, revealing a hollow space containing what looked like a copper ring the size of a dinner plate, attached to a complex array of wires and crystals. Arcturian design, Sam noted, impressed despite himself. Pre-collapse technology. Where'd you get it? Won it in a card game from a dead man, Jack replied cryptically. But like I said, it's busted. Sam approached the device, examining the intricate circuitry. The quantum stabilizers are intact. Power matrix is degraded but serviceable. He glanced at Kira. With the right tools and a few hours, I could get it running. We don't have a few hours, she said tensely. Those hunters will tear this spaceport apart to find me. Sam's eyes narrowed. Then, maybe it's time you stopped lying to me. What are you really running from? Kira hesitated, internal conflict visible in the tightening of her jaw. Finally, she sighed, her shoulders slumping slightly. I'm Zirconian, she admitted. Yeah, I figured that out from the tattoo on your neck, Sam replied. What I want to know is why those hunters are willing to level a spaceport to get you back. Kira paced the small room, her torn dress swishing against her thighs. Zirconians are rare. Our natural pheromones can influence human emotion. Some of us can even manipulate specific feelings. Like desire, Sam surmised. She nodded. My race was sold into servitude generations ago. We're treated as luxury commodities, companions, entertainers, spies. Her voice hardened. Breeding stock. And your owner? War Minister Draken. Kira's face darkened. He's arranged my marriage to the son of a rival faction leader, a political alliance sealed with my body. Sam whistled low. That's quite the wedding gift. It's slavery, she snapped. Dressed up in diplomatic language and fancy clothes, but still slavery. As Kira worked with Sam on preparing the portal device, her movements became more fluid, less guarded. Her fingers danced over the ancient technology with practiced precision, confirming Sam's suspicions that she was far more than a simple companion. You know portal tech pretty well for an entertainer, he observed casually. Kira's mouth quirked. Zirconians were engineers before we were slaves. Some knowledge is passed down through generations. She paused, studying him with a curious expression. You're different, you know. How's that? My pheromones. They affect everyone, make them susceptible to suggestion, heightened desire, lower inhibitions. She frowned. But you resist somehow. Sam shrugged, focusing on reconnecting a delicate crystal matrix. Maybe I'm just broken. Broken? Kira's laugh was genuine this time, musical and light. Is that your brand? Something like that, he replied, but his eyes were serious for the first time since they'd met. A comfortable silence fell between them as they worked, broken only by the occasional instruction or request for a tool. Jack brought them food, synthetic protein bars and a flask of water, before retreating to the bar to keep watch. As night fell over New Sierra, the distant wail of search drones echoed through the spaceport. Kira tensed at each sound, her hands occasionally trembling as she worked. "Why did you run?" Sam asked finally. "Why not just accept your fate? Live in luxury, even if it's a gilded cage." Her blue eyes flashed. "Would you accept chains just because they're made of gold?" "Fair point," he conceded. A patrol drone buzzed past the building, its searchlight sweeping across the front entrance. Sam instinctively pulled Kira away from the small window, pressing her against the wall with his body as they held their breath. Her heart hammered against his chest, her scent, jasmine and ozone, filling his senses. After the drone passed, neither of them moved immediately. Sam's hand remained on her waist, his thumb unconsciously tracing small circles against the torn fabric of her dress. Her breath on his neck felt like sand flowing over hot glass, fine and sharp and somehow both painful and pleasant. "Why did you leave the bank job behind?" she whispered. "You were good at it, from what I've heard." Sam's jaw tightened. "Things went wrong. People got hurt." "Your partner, Garrett. What happened?" Sam pulled away, returning to the portal device with forced focus. "We were hitting a Nova Court repository. Big score. Everything was going according to plan until it wasn't." He reconnected a power coupling with more force than necessary. "Garrett got greedy, tried to take more than we'd planned. Security responded. In the chaos, I took what we came for and left him behind." "You betrayed him," Kira said, without judgment. "He betrayed the plan," Sam corrected sharply. "He almost got us both killed. I made a call. And now he wants to kill you." "If he's still alive," Sam replied grimly. "Last I heard, he was serving triple life in a Nova Corps prison." The portal device suddenly hummed to life, the copper ring glowing with an ethereal blue light. Power surged through the ancient circuits, causing the room's lighting to flicker. "It's working," Kira breathed, her face illuminated by the portal's glow. She stared at the shimmering energy field, her expression strangely conflicted, as if she were looking at a cage rather than an escape route. Sam noticed her hesitation. "Having second thoughts about your getaway plan?" Before she could answer, Jack burst through the door. "We've got company," he announced, tossing Sam a pulse pistol. "Big guy with a snake tattoo on his neck. 3 more goons with him." "Snake tattoo?" Sam repeated, blood draining from his face. "Friend of yours?" Jack asked dryly. "Garrett," Sam whispered, meeting Kira's startled gaze. "Garrett Fang Kurosawa. But that's impossible. He should be—" The bar's front door exploded inward with a thunderous boom that shook the entire building. Dust and debris filled the air as a tall, muscular figure stepped through the smoking entrance, plasma rifle glowing ominously in the dim light. "Coyote!" A voice bellowed, raw with rage and something else, anticipation. "I know you're here. Time to settle our debt." Sam checked the pulse pistol's charge, half capacity, enough for maybe 3 good shots. His mind raced through escape scenarios, each looking worse than the last. "Jack," he said quietly, "is there another way out?" The bartender jerked his thumb toward a trapdoor partially hidden beneath a workbench. "Service tunnel. Leads to the old fuel depot." Sam nodded, grabbed Kira's hand and moved toward the exit. "Stay here," he told Jack. "Try to buy us some time." "What? And miss all the fun?" Jack grinned, revealing metal teeth that matched the right side of his face. He pulled a heavily modified scattergun from beneath the workbench. Besides, that bastard owes me for the door. As they slipped through the trap door, the sound of Garrett's voice echoed through the bar, cold and dangerous. Come out! Come out! Wherever you are, Coyote. I've brought someone who's dying to meet your new girlfriend. The hunt was on. The service tunnel reeked of fuel and rust, darkness broken only by the dim emergency lights that flickered along the ceiling every 20 meters. Sam led the way, pulse pistol ready, every sense heightened by the imminent threat of death behind them. Kira followed close, her breath coming in quick bursts, the sound of Jack's scattergun echoing distantly above them. Sam halted abruptly at a junction, listening to the muffled sounds of pursuit. Without warning, Kira grabbed his jacket and yanked him into a narrow maintenance alcove. What are you? Her lips crashed against his, cutting off his question. The kiss was desperate, hungry, a collision of adrenaline and fear and something else that blazed between them like wildfire. Her violet skin glowed faintly in the darkness, her body pressed against his with urgent need. Sam responded instantly, one hand tangling in her hair, the other still gripping the pistol. When they broke apart, both breathless, Kira's blue eyes gleamed with fierce determination. Just in case we don't get another chance, she whispered. Sam traced her jawline with his thumb. We'll get plenty of chances. I don't die easily. Boots thundered in the tunnel above, followed by an ominous creaking from the trap door they'd escaped through. Your glider, Kira whispered. If we can reach it, East Depot, 1/2 kilometer from here. Sam peered around the corner, then pulled back as a drone whirred past the intersection. Though I'm open to better ideas. Kira retrieved the stylus from her thigh holster, twisted the top section, and pressed a hidden button. The innocuous maintenance tool transformed, extending into what resembled a slim energy baton. Zirconian defense weapon, she explained, catching Sam's surprised look. Disrupts electrical systems within a 5-meter radius. Handy toy. You have no idea, she replied with a wicked smile that made his pulse quicken. They moved swiftly through the tunnel network, navigating by Sam's intimate knowledge of the spaceport's underbelly. Twice they froze as search parties passed overhead, hunters communicating through encrypted channels that buzzed faintly in the silence. The fuel depot entrance loomed ahead, a rusted hatch sealed with a biometric lock that had long since been bypassed by Sam for his own purposes. He pressed his palm against the corroded panel, and the door slid open with a reluctant groan. Dawn painted the eastern sky blood red through the dome's fractured panels as they emerged into the open air. The massive fuel depot stretched before them, a graveyard of empty tanks and abandoned piping systems. In the center sat Sam's glider, a retrofitted Y-84 skimmer that had seen better days. Its hull was a patchwork of salvaged parts, the original paint job hidden beneath layers of dust and hasty repairs, but Sam had never seen a more beautiful machine. That's our ride, Kira asked skeptically. Don't judge by appearances. She's faster than she looks. They sprinted across the open ground, boots kicking up clouds of rust-colored dust. The glider's hatch hissed open at Sam's approach, recognizing his biosignature. Get in! Sam shouted as the first plasma bolt screamed past his ear, superheating the air with an audible crack. Kira dived into the cockpit, Sam right behind her. His hands flew over the controls, bypassing the standard startup sequence with practiced ease. The engine sputtered, then roared to life with a sound like an angry beast awakening from hibernation. Hang on! The glider shot forward, skimming a meter above the ground as more plasma fire erupted from behind a cluster of storage tanks. Through the rear view screen, Sam spotted Garrett's sleek black pursuit vehicle emerging from the depot entrance. a military-grade interceptor that made his own machine look like a child's toy. "Well, that's not fair," he muttered, banking hard to avoid another barrage of plasma. "Who is he?" Kira demanded, strapping herself into the co-pilot seat. "Really?" "Garrett Fang Kurosawa, former partner, current psychopath." Sam pushed the throttle to maximum, sending the glider into a steep climb toward the dome's emergency exit port. "We pulled jobs together for 3 years before it went bad." "What happened?" "I told you. He got greedy, compromised the job, I left him behind." Sam's jaw tightened. Nova Corp gave him triple life in the Tartarus pits. No one escapes from there. A direct hit rocked the glider, warning lights flashing across the console. Sam cursed, executing a series of evasive maneuvers that sent them spiraling between abandoned structures. "Apparently someone did," Kira observed dryly. The comm unit crackled to life, filled with Garrett's voice, deeper than Sam remembered, edged with a rawness that hadn't been there before. "Sam, you're dead, and the girl's mine. War Minister Draken pays well for the return of his property." Kira grabbed the comm unit, her face contorted with fury. "I'm not a trophy, you bastard." "Trophies?" Sam interjected with forced levity, swerving to avoid a gutted freighter. "I prefer cacti. Less maintenance." He flipped a switch on the console, and the glider's speakers blared ancient rock music, thundering guitars and primal drums that perfectly matched the adrenaline surging through his veins. "Seriously?" Kira stared at him incredulously. "Music? Now?" "Every chase needs a soundtrack," Sam replied, executing a perfect drift around a storage silo. "Helps me think." The glider roared across the spaceport's main concourse, weaving between derelict ships and collapsed structures. Garrett's interceptor kept pace effortlessly, its superior engines allowing it to close the gap with alarming speed. "He's gaining!" Kira shouted above the music, activating the rear defensive array. She fired a series of precise bursts, forcing Garrett to veer off momentarily. "Nice shooting," Sam approved, impressed by her handling of the unfamiliar weapon system. "I've had practice," she replied grimly. "Why is he so intent on killing you, just for leaving him behind?" Sam's hands tightened on the controls. "It's more complicated than that. The Nova Corp job. I took more than my share. A lot more." "So, it's about money?" "With Garrett? It's always about money." Sam banked hard, scraping the glider's underside against an ancient landing strut. "But from what you just heard, sounds like he found a new employer. War Minister Draken, I'm guessing." Kira's face paled beneath her violet complexion. "Draken would spare no expense to recover me. I'm his insurance policy for the alliance with the Tiberian faction." "Political marriage," Sam recalled from their earlier conversation. "Sounds delightful." "It's slavery," she spat, firing another volley at their pursuers. "My race, the Zirconians, we can only calibrate portals to places we've been before. And I've only been 2 places my entire life, Draken's palace and his private yacht. So even if we activated that portal back at Jack's, it would lead straight back to Draken," she confirmed bitterly. "Some escape." The comm crackled again, Garrett's voice slicing through the music. "You always were predictable, Coyote, running to the exit like the coward you are." "He's right," Sam muttered. "He knows I'll head for the dome exit." "So don't," Kira suggested. "Change the game." Sam grinned, an idea forming. "Hang on, this could get rough." He wrenched the controls, sending the glider into a stomach-lurching dive toward the ancient portal framework they'd been working on hours earlier. The structure stood silhouetted against the rising sun, its broken ring a stark reminder of failed escape. "What are you doing?" Kira demanded. "That portal's dead." "Maybe," Sam replied, eyes locked on the target. "But Garrett doesn't know that. He activated the glider's emergency beacon, sending a concentrated burst of energy into the portal's dormant systems. Incredibly, the ancient technology responded, the ring humming to life with flickering blue energy, unstable and wildly fluctuating, but definitely active. How did you... Jack's portable unit and this one were made by the same people, Sam explained, positioning the glider for a direct approach. They're responding to each other. But we can't go through. It's not calibrated. We're not going to, Sam assured her, pulling back on the throttle. But our friend Garrett doesn't know that. Understanding dawned in Kira's eyes. He thinks we're making a jump. And he'll follow, right into a trap. As predicted, Garrett's interceptor accelerated, determined not to lose his prey. Sam held course until the last possible moment, then yanked the controls, sending their glider into a vertical climb mere meters from the portal's surface. Garrett wasn't prepared for the maneuver. His interceptor plunged directly into the unstable energy field, which sparked violently at the intrusion. The portal's systems overloaded, creating a localized gravity well that dragged the black ship into its swirling vortex. No! Garrett's voice distorted through the comm as his vessel disappeared into the collapsing field. You can't. The portal imploded with a soundless flash, leaving nothing but scorched metal and a swirling funnel of sand where Garrett's ship had vanished. Where did he go? Kira asked, staring at the destruction. Nowhere, Sam replied grimly. Unstable portals don't transport, they disintegrate. He's just gone. The momentary victory was short-lived. Warning sirens blared from the glider's systems as multiple incoming targets appeared on the scanner. Drones, Sam identified, banking away from the collapsed portal site. Looks like Garrett left some insurance. A dozen combat drones swarmed from the surrounding buildings, sleek and deadly, their weapons systems targeting the struggling glider with mechanical precision. If we can reach the dome exit, Sam began, but a direct hit cut him off, sending the glider into a spiraling descent. Change of plans. We're going down. They crashed in a remote section of the spaceport, the glider's reinforced hull absorbing the worst of the impact. Sam dragged Kira from the smoking wreckage seconds before the fuel cells ignited, turning their escape vehicle into a miniature sun. Some pilot, Kira groaned, clutching her side where a metal fragment had grazed her. Hey, any landing you walk away from, Sam retorted, pulling her behind a collapsed water tower as the drones circled overhead. They were trapped, outgunned, outnumbered with no vehicle and nowhere to run. The drones methodically tightened their search pattern, weapon systems glowing ominously in the morning light. This wasn't exactly how I planned to spend my morning, Sam remarked, checking his pulse pistol's depleted charge. One shot left, maybe two. Kira's blue eyes met his, a strange calm settling over her features. I'm not going back, she stated simply. I'd rather die here. Sam found himself nodding. Yeah, me too. They huddled together as the first drone rounded the water tower, its sensors locking onto their position. Sam raised his pistol, knowing it was futile but unwilling to surrender without a fight. The drone exploded in a spectacular shower of sparks and metal, followed in quick succession by two more. Sam blinked in confusion as Jack's gravelly laugh echoed across the debris field. You two need a hand? The bartender stood atop a nearby maintenance shed, scattergun smoking, his mechanical eye glowing fiercely in the dawn light. Or should I come back later? What followed was a desperate battle against Garrett's automated killers. Sam improvised weapons from the debris around them, hurling wrenches with sniper-like accuracy to disable the drone's stabilizers while Kira used her zirconian baton to disrupt their guidance systems. They fought back-to-back, movements synchronized as if they'd been partners for years rather than hours. When Sam stumbled, Kira was there to deflect a plasma burst. When she was cornered, he appeared from nowhere, smashing a drone with a piece of pipe. Jack provided covering fire, his modified weapons cutting through the drone's armor like paper. Together, they gradually thinned the swarm until only smoking husks remained. "I think that's the last of them," Sam panted, blood trickling from a cut above his eye. Kira leaned against him, breathing hard. "Your bartender friend is handy in a fight." "Ex-Nova Corp Marine," Jack explained, climbing down to join them. "Before the augmentation, obviously." He tapped his metal face. "Now I just serve drinks to idiots like you." "And we appreciate it," Sam assured him, clapping the older man on his flesh shoulder. They made their way back to the Rusty Nail as the twin suns climbed higher in the sky. The bar had survived mostly intact, despite the battle that had raged through it. Jack immediately set about cleaning up, muttering about ungrateful customers and property damage. Sam and Kira collapsed in a corner booth, exhaustion finally catching up with them. She studied him across the scratched tabletop, her violet skin glowing softly in the bar's dim lighting. "So what now?" she asked quietly. Sam considered the question. Garrett was gone. The hunters would report back to War Minister Draken, but without proof of Kira's death or capture, they'd eventually return to search again. New Sierra wouldn't be safe forever. "We could try to repair Jack's portable portal," he suggested. "But you said it yourself. You can only go places you've been before." "Draken's palace or his yacht," she confirmed bitterly. "Neither option appeals to me." Sam leaned forward, lowering his voice. "Unless we change how the portal works. Modify it." "That's impossible," Kira began, then paused, understanding blooming in her eyes. Unless we combine zirconian calibration techniques with some good old-fashioned criminal ingenuity," Sam finished with a grin. "I've broken into plenty of places I wasn't supposed to be. Why not break into a dimension?" For the first time since they'd met, Kira's laugh was completely uninhibited, a musical sound that seemed to light up the dingy bar from within. Hours later, as New Sierra's twin suns set in a blaze of crimson and gold, they sat together at the bar. Jack had brought them actual food, synthetic protein transformed into something resembling stew, and genuine fermented grain alcohol, a luxury in the border worlds. Kira slid closer to Sam, her leg touching his beneath the counter, her fingers trailing lightly over his wrist. "You know," she murmured, "you're not a thief anymore." "No?" Sam raised an eyebrow. "What am I then?" "Prey," she replied, a predatory gleam in her blue eyes. "My prey." Sam grinned, an answering heat rising in his blood. "Then catch me if you can." Her touch was electric, like a desert storm that swept away all resistance. When their lips met, an actual spark, zirconian energy responding to heightened emotion, leapt between them, causing the bar's neon lights to flicker in rhythm with their racing hearts. Jack observed from across the room, his mechanical eye whirring softly as he processed the scene. "Drinks are on the house, lovebirds," he called out, raising his own glass in a toast. Neither Kira nor Sam had gotten what they initially wanted. She hadn't escaped to true freedom. He hadn't found the peaceful anonymity he'd been seeking since leaving his criminal past behind. But in this forgotten spaceport, where the American West met the far future, they'd discovered something they hadn't been looking for: each other. As red dust continued its endless descent from the dome above, coating everything in a fine crimson mist, and the neon cacti blinked their surreal colors in the gathering darkness, Kira and Sam began planning their next move. Together. "You know," Sam murmured against her hair, "I've always wanted to see a zirconian sunset." "Maybe someday," Kira replied, her eyes reflecting the promise of adventures yet to come. "When we've figured out how to break the rules of portal physics." "Rules?" Sam laughed. "Sweetheart, rules are just suggestions for people without imagination." and beneath the twinkling stars visible through New Sierra's fractured dome, amid the ruins of a civilization long past its prime, something new began. A partnership forged in plasma fire and sealed with a kiss that literally made the lights flicker. The Coyote Tower dominated the new Palladium skyline, its 90 stories of gleaming quantum glass and zirconian alloy catching the twin suns' light in a dazzling display of power and prosperity. At the pinnacle, an illuminated logo, a stylized coyote wrapped protectively around a violet star, rotated slowly, visible from anywhere in the metropolis. Sam Wells adjusted his tailored graphene suit, watching through the panoramic windows of the penthouse office as his corporate armada of security vessels patrolled the city's airspace. Coyote Security Systems had become the most sought-after protection service in 3 sectors, their client list including planetary governors, corporate moguls, and even the Rigelian royal family. "Daddy, look what I made!" 6-year-old Nova bounded into the office, her violet skin shimmering with excitement, blue eyes glowing like her mother's. Behind her came her older brother Richie, 9 years old with Sam's dark hair but Kira's coloring, the perfect blend of human and zirconian heritage. Sam crouched, admiring the small mechanical device in his daughter's hands. "Is that a mini portal generator?" "It only jumps things across the room," Nova admitted, demonstrating by sending a stylus from one side of Sam's desk to the other in a flash of blue light. "But Uncle Jack says I'm a natural." "Uncle Jack should stop teaching my children how to create unstable dimensional rifts in my office," came Kira's amused voice from the doorway. Sam's breath caught, even after 10 years of marriage. Kira Wells stood framed in the entrance, resplendent in a formal business gown that accentuated her violet skin and perfect figure. Her once short hair now cascaded in intricate braids embedded with tiny light crystals, a traditional zirconian style reserved for tribe leaders. "You're staring again," she teased, crossing to his side. "Can't help it," Sam replied, pulling her into a kiss that made the children groan theatrically. "Gross," Richie declared, though his eyes twinkled with the same mischief his father's had always held. "You think that's gross? Watch this." Sam dipped Kira dramatically, planting another kiss that made the office lights flicker, their electrical connection still as powerful as the day they'd met. "Mom! Dad! We're going to be late for the gala," Richie protested, sounding far older than his 9 years. "The boy's right," came a gruff voice as Jack Turner entered, his cyborg components now state-of-the-art thanks to Sam and Kira's considerable resources. The right side of his face gleamed with polished chrome and gold accents, his red eye replaced with a multi-spectrum optical array worth more than most starships. The donors get cranky if the hosts are fashionably late. Tonight was the annual Freedom Foundation Gala, the public face of Sam and Kira's true passion. While Coyote Security Systems dominated the legitimate business world, their real mission operated in shadows. 10 years of strategic planning, calculated risk, and meticulously executed raids had freed over 3,000 Zirconians from slavery across the known systems. "The children ready for their part?" Kira asked Jack quietly as they descended in the private elevator. "Those kids could run the operation without us," Jack chuckled. "Richie's already hacked the security grid at the Tiberian ambassador's compound. Says he found another collection being hidden there." Sam shook his head with pride. "He gets that from his mother." "The hacking? That's all you, Coyote," Kira corrected, straightening his platinum cufflinks, each containing emergency portal coordinates if things went sideways. The underground garage housed their personal transports, sleek, armored vehicles that could outrun military interceptors. Sam selected a midnight blue luxury cruiser for tonight's public appearance. "Taking the subtle approach?" Jack asked sarcastically. "We're respectable business leaders now," Sam winked. "Gotta maintain appearances." The new Palladium Grand Concourse was illuminated with thousands of floating light spheres as the city's elite gathered for what was ostensibly a charity event for displaced refugees. Photographers captured the arrival of the Wells family, the famous power couple and their extraordinary children, as they stepped onto the red carpet. "Mr. Wells," called a reporter, "is it true that Coyote Systems has secured the contract for the new Galactic Council headquarters?" Sam smiled diplomatically. "We're honored to be under consideration." "Ambassador Valar," another shouted to Kira, using her official title as the first Zirconian representative to the Planetary Alliance. "Your speech at the Liberation Ceremony on Proxima 4 has gone viral across the networks." Kira acknowledged with a gracious nod, her diplomat's training evident in her perfectly composed features, revealing nothing of the fact that she had personally led the raid that freed the Zirconian captives on Proxima 4 just 3 days earlier. Inside the Grand Hall, the gala was in full swing. Political figures, business magnates, and celebrities mingled beneath crystal chandeliers, unaware that many of the service staff were actually former slaves now working for the extensive underground network that Jack managed. The Jack Turner Group officially ran the most exclusive chain of entertainment venues across 12 systems. The Rusty Nail had become synonymous with luxury and discretion. Unofficially, each location served as a safe house and information hub for the liberation movement. "There's our target," Kira murmured, nodding toward a corpulent man dripping with jewels and self-importance. "Trade Minister Holt. According to our sources, he's moving 6 Zirconian children through the Vega corridor next week. Coincidentally, we have a security consultation in that sector," Sam replied, his charming smile never faltering as he waved to an admirer across the room. "Strange how our business takes us to all the right places." The children drifted through the crowd with practiced ease, Nova charming ancient senators with her precocious questions while Ricci accidentally bumped into key figures, planting microscopic tracking devices with each calculated collision. "They're getting too good at this," Jack observed, appearing at Sam's side with champagne flutes filled with genuine Earth vintage, another display of their astronomical wealth. "Worried about the competition?" Sam teased. "Nah," Jack's mechanical eye whirred as he scanned the room. "Just thinking Garrett Fang Kurosawa would have had a stroke seeing you now. Bank robber turned billionaire security expert. With a side business in revolutionary liberation," Kira added softly. Hours later, when the public spectacle had served its purpose, information gathered, contacts made, appearances maintained, the Wells family returned to their true sanctuary. Not the corporate penthouse where they conducted business, but a renovated section of the original New Sierra spaceport, preserved as their private retreat. The dome had been repaired, the buildings restored, but Sam had insisted on keeping one feature intact. The neon cacti still blinked their surreal patterns against the desert backdrop, a reminder of where it all began. In what had once been Jack's bar, now transformed into a comfortable family room but still bearing the original Rusty Nail sign, Sam poured genuine whiskey into glasses while Nova and Richie excitedly reported their intelligence findings to their mother. "Minister Holt has the security codes in his private terminal," Richie explained, projecting a holographic schematic from his wrist device. "If we can access it remotely during the Vega operation, we'd have locations for every holding facility in the quadrant," Kira finished, her eyes shining with fierce pride. "Excellent work." Jack arrived through the original bar entrance, carrying a locked case that hummed with contained energy. "Fresh from the workshop," he announced, placing it on the table. "Portable portal disruptors, as requested. Tested them myself. They'll shut down any escape attempt when we hit the vegan compound." The underground weapons development division of Jack's empire had become legendary in certain circles, Cutting-edge technology sold exclusively to the right people for the right causes. To the next mission, Sam proposed a toast. The successful businessman and security expert momentarily replaced by the daring coyote of old, eyes gleaming with the thrill of the coming hunt. To freedom, Kira added, her ambassador's poise giving way to the fierce warrior who had fought alongside him for a decade. Later, when the children were asleep and plans had been finalized for the Vega operation, Sam and Kira stood on the balcony overlooking the preserved spaceport, the red desert dust still swirling in the artificial atmosphere they'd maintained as a reminder. "Regrets?" Sam asked, arms wrapped around her waist, chin resting on her shoulder. Kira turned in his embrace, blue eyes luminous in the moonlight. "Not one," she answered, trailing violet fingers along the scar that still crossed his eyebrow. "Though I sometimes miss holding a stylus to your head." "Kinky," Sam grinned, pulling her closer. "I have some styluses in the bedroom if you're feeling nostalgic." The electrical spark between them ignited as it always had, causing the neon cacti below to surge brighter momentarily, a phenomenon their scientists had never been able to explain, but that had become a running joke among their security staff. "I love you, Coyote," Kira whispered against his lips. "I love you too, Prey," he answered with the private name he'd called her for 10 years. As New Palladium's lights twinkled beyond the preserve's boundaries and their children slept safely within, as freed Zirconians across the galaxy built new lives thanks to their efforts, as Jack's network expanded and their enemies diminished, Sam and Kira Wells stood at the center of an empire built from the ruins of a chance meeting. The hunt would continue tomorrow. Tonight belonged to them. In the distance, a communication beacon flashed urgently on Sam's private channel, a signal from a sector they'd thought secure. New threats, new challenges, new adventures calling. The cosmic coyote and his star would answer. They always did. The red dust still settles on this story like it does on everything in New Sierra. I've transmitted these chronicles through the quantum network, piecing together what happened from scattered reports, security footage, and whispered legends that drift through spaceport bars. Some say the cosmic coyote and his Zirconian star are just myths, characters invented to give hope to those trapped in systems of oppression. Others swear they've glimpsed their midnight blue cruiser streaking across restricted airspace, or caught the distinctive flicker of lights that follows their passionate encounters. The truth? It's somewhere in the spaces between dimensions, like so many things worth pursuing. If you find yourself in a forgotten corner of the galaxy, in a bar called The Rusty Nail with a bartender whose mechanical eye seems to see more than it should, order the Coyote Special. You might just receive coordinates instead of a drink. After all, everyone needs a portal to somewhere new sometimes. Until our paths cross in the next dimension. KVW. A violet fingerprint marks the page.